What's up, everybody? It's Steven from All Games Go to Heaven with another quick pick, the show where we quickly talk about a game we've been playing recently that we really liked. Today we're going to be talking about Sanabi, developed by Wonder Potion and released in November of 2023. It has an overwhelmingly positive review score on Steam and is only $15 normally, and I think on sale it goes for like $7 or $8. This is something I had on my wish list for a couple years after seeing a trailer for it, and I finally decided to pick it up during the most recent winter sale, and I'm so glad I did because this game is awesome. It is a 2D action platformer where you play as the retired brigadier general of an elite military unit that serves the royal court. After his daughter is accidentally killed by Sanabi, he comes out of retirement for one last mission of revenge to hunt Sanabi down. I don't want to say any more about the story, and I will keep the footage spoiler free, but for a small indie game that took me, 9-10 hours to beat, I was pleasantly surprised with what's there and how well it was paced. It gave me a kind of Katana Zero vibe in the way the story is told, not so much in the trippy, what the heck is going on kind of way. I'm not really sure how or why, but that's just the feeling I had when I played it. As you've probably seen from the footage, the main thing going on is the general's chain arm. Other than a bit of running and jumping, everything is done with the chain arm. The bulk of the traversal, which involves grappling and swinging, to combat is all done by aiming the arm and shooting it out. When you start linking grapples together without losing momentum and taking on enemies, it feels really satisfying, it's a lot of fun, and it really makes you feel like the badass that the game is making you out to be. You also get some upgrades along the way, like the ability to reel yourself in on the chain or boost through a swing, but this is not a Metroidvania. You are not backtracking once you unlock new skills. This is a straight up left to right linear game. Now that's not a criticism, it's just a clarification, because once Sanabi starts, it is go go go, and it only lets up for the story beats, which I thought were actually well placed. The later levels get pretty intense, so having those little breaks in between sections I think was a good call. I played the whole game with a controller and I was shocked by how well it worked. At first I thought this is going to be a mouse and keyboard game all the way just to make sure that I was aiming the grapple well, but the game does a really good job of picking a spot in the general direction that you're moving or you're aiming for the grapple to latch onto. There's maybe like a handful of times at most where it didn't pick the perfect spot that I would have picked. But, if you really want to have that level of control, you can hold down the right trigger. The game goes into a slow-mo and gives you full control of where you want to put that grapple. But to be honest, I don't think I ever used this in my whole playthrough. There's a handful of boss fights, which I thought were all really well done as well. They're all unique, and none of them feel like they rely on the same gimmick. It might not seem like that makes sense since you do everything with the grappling arm, but it just never felt like I was playing the same fight twice. The standout for me has to be the massive gunship you fight as you are flying through the sky on cargo containers. You have to be constantly swinging, from cargo container to dodge the gunship's fire and the missiles, but the added wrinkle is that the containers take damage and explode, so you have to make sure you are giving yourself enough time and space to make sure a new one can take its place. It was definitely a tough fight, but it was a lot of fun, and once I got through it, it was really satisfying. After you beat the main campaign, which is 5 chapters long and took me about 9 to 10 hours, there is a free DLC called A Haunted Day where you play as Major Song. She's a character you encounter in the main story from the same unit that the general was a part of, and it is basically the story of how she gets recruited. It only takes a couple of hours and it plays like a bit more of a traditional platformer because Major Song doesn't have a grappling hook on. Instead she jumps, she has a shotgun and a sword. She's still basically just as fast, but instead of grappling around, you can chain jumps together after hitting an enemy and also propel yourself with the shotgun for some extra distance. It was a lot of fun playing as her after beating the main story because there's an even more aggressive playstyle and it doesn't overstay its welcome only being a couple of hours. I also want to make sure to give a huge shout out to the music in this game done by Invader 303. They absolutely knocked it out of the park in my opinion. When the action kicks off, so does the music. You get these absolutely slamming techno synthwave EDM tracks that would be right at home in any kind of a cyberpunk game. And the in-between moments when the music is slower also do a really good job of setting the mood. Again, huge props to Invader 303. This is one of my favorite soundtracks in recent memory, and I've listened to it a bunch on YouTube. But that's going to be it for this one. If you've played Sanabi, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, and if you haven't, I can't recommend this one enough, especially on a Steam sale. This game is an absolute steal. Thank you so much for watching.